Hi everyone, my name's Karl Watson and welcome to my flat. Now, if you stumbled onto this video from any other travel channel on YouTube, you might be wondering, what on earth is a flat? Well, a flat, try and think of it like a van, but without wheels. So it's not mobile, it doesn't go anywhere, but it's a lot bigger. And what I do when there isn't a global pandemic on, I travel to places and stay in other buildings and then come back to here. Now, if you're already subscribed to my channel, you might be thinking, really, Karl? A flat tour? That's where we're at? Like, we're really scraping the barrel now, aren't we? I mean, where's the documentaries? Where's the travel? Where's the backpacking? Where's the adventure? Where's James? Like, what kind of self-indulgent bullshit is this? You know what? I'm gonna hit dislike, type some angry emojis, unsubscribe. Now, all of those are very valid points. They are, but please try to remember, you don't have to watch this video. You can just click on something else and carry on living your life. It's fine. Don't worry about it, because I'll be back with travel stuff before you know it. Like, coming up next, I've got the Hong Kong to New York retrospective videos, which are nearly done. That's 2 50-minute episodes. Then I'll start doing weekend breaks around the UK, and then in a couple of months, the borders will be open and we'll be off, okay? Plus, for this flat tour video, it's not just gonna be me going, hey look, I have a desk chair. It's going to be me sort of telling stories about my life, stuff that hasn't made it on the channel already. A bit like how the scratch map video wasn't a video of me just scratching a map, it was me telling stories. It's going to be the same with this flat. So if you're interested in where I live, where I've been spending last year, or you want to know some more backstories or other cool things that have never made it onto the channel, then stick with me and let me show you around where I live. So I moved out to Redhill in the summer of 2019, and it's a small town that's a quick train ride into London and an even quicker train ride to Gatwick Airport. And I fell in love with this flat as soon as I viewed it. It's the perfect size for what I want. It's a top floor flat, so I haven't got anyone above me, and the 2 neighbours on my floor are on the other side of the corridor, so I'm not sharing any walls with any other people. And when I moved in, the whole place was very grey, like grey carpets, grey walls, so I just wanted to shift it to a warmer colour, but I didn't want to go too crazy because I knew I was going to bring plenty of colour in with the pictures on my wall and all my other stuff I got around the flat as well. So yeah, let's start on this side of the room with these pictures on the wall, because this is what I get asked the most about when I'm doing the live Q&As. So I'm sitting at my desk there, these are in the background, and these are all pictures that I've taken on my trips with the same Sony A7S camera that I film with. So starting here, we got Queenstown, New Zealand, my favourite place in the world. One of the reasons I love Queenstown so much is no matter what you're in the mood for, this town has something for you.
How you feel?
Then this is obviously Petra in Jordan. Oh, there it is. Oh my God. It's just as incredible as you'd imagine. Then here we've got a place that I absolutely love, the Fushimi Inari Shrine in Kyoto, Japan. You probably can't see it on camera, but it's just started snowing as well, just to make this place a little bit more picturesque. Now if we move to the main big photo here, this was taken in a Tosho National Park in Namibia on my first time in Africa trip, and if you watch the edit you'll hear like beautiful music and it's all serene, but if you were to hear the original sound of what I was saying behind the camera, it's basically just fuck yes, because as the sun was setting behind them, all the elephants are walking towards us, and as they stomp through the grey dust and sand, that would all just rise up and kind of glow orange around them, and it just looks so good. Then moving on to here, this was sunrise whilst we're sailing the Whitsundays in Queensland, Australia.
We just woke up, 6 AM, beautiful sunrise, very magical moment. So some whales swim alongside us as well.
That moment's from my Discover Queensland series, which I posted a few months ago, and not many people have watched it actually, so if you are looking for some new travel content rather than just a flat tour video, then go check those out. And then down here is another one from the first time in Africa trip. This was the Victoria Falls from the Zimbabwe side. You get such a better view from this Zimbabwe side of the main falls, because here, this is the main falls, the main bit. And finally here we got sunset on Mount Everest, and this was after we'd reached base camp and we hiked up to the Kalimantan viewpoint, and it was just perfect. Yeah! Everest at sunset. Look at this view. What do you say, Steve? Altitude?
5547.
Oh my god, this is amazing! So I've got all these canvas prints here, and I got a bunch more in my bedroom, and lots of people ask me, are they available to buy? And the answer is yes.
The Karl Watson Store. Online now. Buy. Posters, canvas prints, t-shirts, hoodies, and more. Featuring overused and outdated catchphrases, select the size and color you want. Choose the size print and it'll be shipped worldwide. Just listen to a testimonial from one of our many satisfied customers.
No, I'm not going to buy one of your fucking t-shirts, Karl.
So start shopping now! Don't be a stupid asshole. Shop at the Karl Watson Store now! Patrons get 15% off.
Alright, let's move on to the other side of my room. So we'll start my edit suite right here. So my old flat, I only had like a tiny little desk to work on, so it's nice to be able to spread out a bit more and have the dual monitors, which makes it a lot easier for editing. So you have your timeline here, and yeah, there's me up there. This is the Ace Case with my retrospective video. I've got Logitech speakers hooked up for playback with a sub bass woofer down there. This is the microphone that I use for recording voiceovers, Rode NT USB, and then we've got a drawer full of hard drives down there, which also I've backed up and kept in another location in the flat just for safety. And this is where I've been working from home for the last year, and this is probably a good opportunity to remind everyone that, yeah, I make most of my living by freelancing for other clients and editing videos from other clients. I don't make my living from YouTube, so if anyone's watching this video thinking, wow, if I become a YouTuber one day, then maybe I can own a flat like Karl. It's like, no, if you become a YouTuber one day, maybe you can own like a mouse mat like me, but you know, it really just doesn't pay that much at all. I mean, it pays a little bit more than that, but basically what I make in 1 month from YouTube, I can make in less than 2 days freelance editing. So yeah, anyway, let's keep this thing moving and let's move on to the guitars. So if we start with, well, if we start with this one here, this one was given to me by Christy in Morocco when we did the Secret Santa thing at the end of the trip. That's awesome. That like look good on my new flat, like on the windowsill or something. I don't know if I can play Wonderwall on it. And then over here, I've got my Fender Strat, which I bought when I was a teenager. And yeah, the electronics needs fixing it right now. There's a couple of wires loose I need to get sorted out. So no demos today, but yeah, I normally hook it up to this Boss Guitar amp, and the great thing about this amp is you can hook it up via USB to the computer and then download any guitar sounds you want. So if you want it to sound like Metallica, Queen, Pink Floyd, you can get that sound on the guitar. You have to be able to play the songs, of course, but you can get the sound. Now it's been a long time since I've actually been in the band. Like I started playing guitar and having lessons when I was 8 years old. I did music GCSE, A-level, I studied music at uni. then one of my best and oldest friends, Stu Rook, had a band called Lux Lisbon, and I joined them from like 2010, 2012. We actually had a band together back at school. Like, we used to win Battle of Bands together, you know, a few years in a row, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, I joined that band for a couple of years, and we did some great gigs. Like, because they'd already been together a while, they'd already done like the really shitty venues, so we got to play some cool spots in London, as well as doing some really awesome events. Like, we played at Hyde Park for the Olympics, played at Festival, and also played on BBC Radio Wales.
Lux Lisbon, the band in session here on BBC Radio Wales. Guys, that was absolutely amazing. Who have you got in the studio there? Give us a bit of a roll call.
Karl Watson on guitar, who was particularly enjoying the last Tom Petty track, weren't you, Karl? That was lovely.
Good.
And we actually made a couple of music videos over the years, and they were so much fun to make. Like, we had a really good laugh with them.
And there's a few Boris masks.
I love it.
David Cameron masks, and then we had
with Fabio Capello and drums.
yeah, I couldn't. The five of us in the band. And I obviously can't count to five because I only ordered 4 masks. But thankfully, I had a Fabio Capello mask and over from World Cup 2010.
I think one of the YouTube comments is someone going, "This is a good video. Why Fabio Capello's on drums is anyone's guess."
You've got to like make up some really unique sort of take on the whole
he likes
thing.
to keep it tight at the back, so you put in the drums.
Look at that.
Oh, whatever. That was good. Whatever.
It's just great. That.
But when I say we made some cool music videos, I mean Chris made some cool music videos. Like, he shot and edited them, and he did an insane job.
The brilliant Lux Lisbon there, live in session on BBC Radio Wales. That was their last track. Absolutely stunning stuff.
And then I left the band the end of 2012 to go off and do Hong Kong to New York. And ever since then I've just been in and out of the country, so I haven't been able to rejoin a band. And I do really miss it. I miss playing with people, and I miss playing live so much. But can't have everything in life, you know. And kind of wish there was like 48 hours in a day so I could do like travel stuff and the music stuff. So, but you know, hopefully one day I'll get to play live again. Anyway, moving on from music to film now. This sign here is not actually the one I bought in New Zealand on the road trip that we used for Matt's housewarming party at the end.
No well wishes.
No, thank you.
To
tell you the truth, Bill's got a bit odd lately.
He's a bit queer.
I remember I got back from the trip, I was like, why didn't I buy one for myself? But luckily my good friend Stephen Stanley, who, if you saw the Ireland film, he was in that. He went to New Zealand in 2019 and he bought me this as a housewarming gift because he's such a lovely guy.
So we've just had our first pint of the trip. It's the first pint, we're all fine, except Steve's had his first pint. Look at that grin. Look at that grin.
It's feeling good.
And I put it here mainly because it fit nicely in the space within the room. There's like a nice gap for it to go. But it also kind of looks like a very polite way of saying, don't touch my fucking guitar.
Don't ever, ever, ever touch my drum set. You understand?
Don't go in there and...
Don't touch it!
Alright!
Now all this brings us nicely on to what I like to refer to as the geek shelf. Now I should provide a bit of context here. I used to own hundreds and hundreds of DVDs and hundreds of CDs. They would fill up my entire flat, like all across the walls, everywhere. And then after doing the Hong Kong to New York trip and living out of a backpack for 9 months and just having the bare minimum, when I got home I realised I just had so much crap and so much junk that I didn't need, and I just wanted to get rid of it all, and it was quite liberating and like quite a sort of freeing feeling to sort of get rid of all this other stuff that you don't need and just get it down to the bare minimum. And so one of the things I did was I digitized all of my DVDs. So, you know, these take up masses of room. They now fit on a hard drive this big. That's all my movies right there. But I wanted to keep just one shelf with some of my favourite movies on, with some of the memorabilia that I collected over the years to go with it. And the rule that I had was everything I had to stay contained within this shelf, so it doesn't keep spilling out and you start getting more and more junk again. It has to stay on here. Now, at my old flat when I was living with Chris, he used to refer to this shelf as the woman repeller. And I was like, no mate, you got it all wrong. If you're dating a girl and she loves this shelf, then she's a keeper. I'm still single, but anyway. So starting with the top shelf is all the Lord of the Rings stuff, and some of these things came with the DVDs when they came out. Some of this stuff I actually bought in New Zealand. Plus, inside here, we have the One Ring. I bought this in Queenstown, New Zealand on the road trip there in 2017, and I got zero regrets about buying it, even though it costed a little bit. And to be fair, you know, yeah, it works pretty well, no complaints whatsoever, so good little purchase there. So moving down here, we've got the complete Star Wars box set here, which opens up like that. And then these are the lightsaber chopsticks that I got in Japan. Here we go. And generally all this stuff here is a mixture of things I bought traveling, things that came with like the Blu-ray box sets, and then just other stuff I found online. Like this Gladiator helmet I got in Rome when I was there in 2012. Neo replicant shades, just bought off the internet many years ago. Trinity. That's the Back to the Future car I bought in Japan.
Now you're gonna have no money left.
I'm gonna spend all my money on the trip right now.
And then this magnetic hoverboard came with the 4K box set, so it's basically just a giant magnet. Yeah, and it hovers. Got my own little hoverboard, finally. Prefer it to be bigger, but there you go. Down here we've got the Harry Potter wands that I bought in Japan as well. Got a lot of this stuff in Japan.
It chose you, Karl.
What? That's Voldemort's. What are you trying to say about me?
I don't know. It chose you, Karl.
Oh, this is the Holy Grail replicant.
You have chosen wisely.
I guess the thing to know about these kind of things in your flat and your home is that something like your laptop or TV has value to whoever has it, but this kind of stuff, in terms of value, I mean, it's worthless to anyone else, but it's like priceless to me. Do you know what I mean? And then down here, we've got this giant MCU box set. Now this thing here is an absolute beast. So it's the Infinity Saga box set. Got all the films in, they're all like magnetically sealed together. And then it's got each film on Blu-ray and 4K. And my whole home cinema is completely set up for 4K, because if I'm going to spend all this money on movies, I want to be able to enjoy them in the best quality possible. Just put this back. And so with it I got this. Chris got me this, it just randomly showed up in the post one day with a little note saying Wakanda forever. It's a bottle opener. And so I also got Mjolnir as a bottle opener. Which is really useful, because if I'm sitting here watching a movie having a beer, I can just do this. Cheers. Anyway, let's move on to the kitchen now, and this is all brand new. I got this all replaced in November, and the old kitchen, whilst it all worked fine, it was a bit old and tatty, it didn't look that great, and the more work I got done on the rest of the flat, the worse the kitchen looked, so I got it all completely switched out. The only thing that remained was the washing machine, but that used to be there with the sink here, and I switched it around so the sink's in front of the sunlight. But yeah, I got a new built-in oven with an induction hob and an extractor fan, and I've always been a terrible cook, but this year I'm finally learning to sort of actually cook some half-decent meals. It's one of my sort of goals for the new year, because my mum got me this cookbook for Christmas. Yeah, been trying out a few recipes. They're coming together all right. I would never classify myself as a chef or anything, but you know, I'm making progress. And I have to say though, I do love this I Was Groot chopping board. It still makes me laugh every time. Then if we move on to the hallway, yeah, I've got pictures up here that I took in Milford Sound and at Rainbow Beach in Australia just before we did Fraser Island. And then I'll show you the bathroom real quick. Now this room didn't need much work at all really, because it had been done up pretty recently before I bought the place, I think. So I just added a new lick of paint, put a mirror in, because who has a bathroom without a mirror? And then the only other thing I added was Gollum, because that came with a Two Towers DVD, and I never really liked having it on the shelf, didn't really fit in, so it just stayed in a box of junk that I had at my mum's house. But when it finally came around to actually buy my own place, I was like, I think I can find a home for it. So yeah, I put it in here because one, it gives the bathroom a little bit of character, plus two, it kind of looks like Gollum's taking a shit.
Even you couldn't say no to that.
Oh, yes, we could.
Anyway, let's move on to the final room of the house, my bedroom. Now my mate Laurie said to me, Carl, if you're gonna make this video, you have to use the line, so this is where the magic happens. But considering I've been in lockdown by myself for a year, that would be a lie. This is basically the room I've struggled to sleep in for the year, really. But anyway, over here, this is where I keep all my check shirts. Included is this one that my brother's girlfriend got me for Christmas, and it's basically a check shirt made up of other check shirts. And yeah, it's probably the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I've never actually worn it out in public, but you know, yeah. Let us know what you think in the comments, guys. It is super comfy though, I've got to admit. So on that side of the room I've got canvas prints that I talked about earlier, but on this side of the room I've got pictures of my friends and family and stuff. And there is a version of this wall I could have done where it's just pictures of me in my favourite locations in the world, or my most epic travel shots, but then it would have all looked like a kind of weird shrine to me, which I didn't want. So yeah, it's pictures of my family, of some of my closest friends, and then quite a few of the others are just some of my favourite groups that I've had whilst travelling. And within those groups, some of those people I'm still really good friends with today and still speak to a lot, and some of those people I've never spoken to or seen again, but they're just representative of a moment in time. Like for that moment, that random group of people were together on some random place in the world and just having the best time together. And it kind of reminds me of that line from the movie The Beach, and I know it seems a bit obvious to name drop the beach when you talk about travelling, but there's a line at the end of the movie that just sums it all up perfectly.
I still believe in paradise, but now at least I know it's not some place you can look for, because it's not where you go, it's how you feel for a moment in your life when you're a part of something. And if you find that moment, it lasts forever.
This is how today's going to work. Come on, Joe. Come get your headphones. Come on. Walk faster. Come on.
Once you get to Zephyr Lodge, it is stunning there. It is so beautiful. It's almost like a 5-star resort.
And Rachel has given up on life. She's just going to throw us out. Oh, did everyone enjoy the Definitely worth it, and now we're going to go chill out in Palomino for a couple of days, tubing and just relax. We've been diving in the ocean at sunset.
Party boat!
Yeah, we're on the party boat, if that wasn't clear. We're having a good time, that's the gist of it. We're having a very, very good time.
Then finally, if we come over here to my music collection, now this is more like a music museum really, because none of these CDs, cassettes, VHSs, DVDs or vinyls will probably ever be played again because I got them all digitized. I just kept the ones that had sentimental value to me because I spent a lot of time and effort and money collecting some of these over the years, and so I didn't want to just throw them all out once I digitized and downsized everything. And we used to always get like a cassette for birthdays or Christmas or when we went on holiday for the long journeys, but the first cassette that I bought with my own money was Bon Jovi Keep the Faith, so I've still got that. The first CD I bought with my own money was Blur Park Life, so Still got that. And generally speaking, I listen to all different kinds of music. I've got tons of different playlists on my phone, and I'm a big believer in like the right music for the right occasion. But saying that, I do have my distinct favourites as well. One of which is Bruce Springsteen. Now, I've seen Bruce Springsteen a few times live, and he's just incredible live. But I actually got to meet him a few years ago as well. Now, Bruce Springsteen's known for like putting 110% into everything. Like his live shows allegedly, like they're full of so much energy and passion. And it was the same with his book signing, because like he had to meet like quite a few hundred people, and he could have easily just been like, "Hi, nice to meet you," photo, move on. But he knew that those 10 seconds meant the world to each and every person in that queue. And so, yeah, come up to meet him. He was just the nicest bloke. He was just like, "Oh, hey Bruce, how's it doing, mate?" And he's like, "Hey, how's it going? It's all right." So it was like really cool and casual, and yeah, he's such a legend, and I was so lucky to meet him, even if it was just for a brief moment. And then we move on to Bryan Adams. Now, Bryan Adams is not the easiest artist to be a fan of, because a lot of people, when you mention his name, they think you just like listening to movie ballads and that's it. And whilst I've got plenty of time for a good power ballad, if you listen to his albums and go to his live shows, like 80 or 90% of it is rock music. And that's the stuff that I got into, is like fun rock songs that you can sing along to, great melodies, great choruses, great guitarists and solos. That's what I got into, and that's what I think of when I think of his music. And so this is a photo of me on stage with Bryan Adams when I was 13 years old, when he got me up on stage to play his guitar and sing Summer of '69 in front of 12,000 people. Now back then, people didn't have smartphones, they didn't even have digital cameras, so I've only got a couple of photos from it. But luckily, someone in the crowd made an audio bootleg of the show.
Hey Dale, turn the lights on again, stop looking for folks. Looking for the guitar players, their guitarists.
So what he used to do back then on that tour was he tried to make a band out of the audience members, and this was the first time I was standing at a gig, and I was like front row center right in front of him, and I told everyone around me that I play guitar. You know, I've been playing for like 5 years at that point. And so when it came time for him to say, "Does anyone play guitar?" everyone around me was pointing at me, and I was like right in front of him, like, "Brian!" And it was just like, holy shit, it's happening, my dream's coming true, I'm going up on stage. And then he asked me, "Oh, what's your name?" And then he gave me his guitar, and it felt like I was being knighted or something. And then one by one, you got other people on stage to play the different instruments in the band. And then he said, "Oh, we need a name for the band." And I suggested Naff R Us, which seemed really witty when I was 13 years old.
We gotta get a name for the band, any ideas? Not for us, not for us. Naff R Us.
And of course, there's only one song that we were going to play.
Alright, this is Not For Us with 69.
I started playing the song, and then it all nearly completely fell apart because the singer who he got out of the crowd to sing the song didn't know the words to Summer of '69. And bear in mind, this is someone who's paid to see Bryan Adams, didn't know the words to Summer of '69. And then when the band's supposed to kick in, I went like that with the guitar, and no one kicked in, no one started playing, and it quickly dawned on me that everyone had just said they could play an instrument just so they could get on stage and meet Brian. They're all lying, they're all full of shit. I was the only one that could play. And so yeah, it's all falling apart, sounding like a complete mess. I'm just playing along to the crowd because they're singing the right words. And then after the first, those were the best days of my life, Brian came up to the singer and tapped on the shoulder and went, "Have a seat, mate." And then he lowered the microphone for me, and it just ended up being me playing the guitar and singing the song by myself in front of 12,000 people. And I remember when I was playing and singing, I took a quick glance over my shoulder and Brian's just sitting there going, "Fuck yes." But you know, 13 years old, your hero sitting behind you, watching you play, just thinking you're doing an amazing job. Just, yeah, unreal. So yeah, we didn't play the whole song, but what started out as a complete mess ended up just being the most amazing moment of my life. It was a Sunday night, and I remember the next day having to go to school and being like at the bus stop with my friends, and they were like, "Oh, didn't you go to see Brian Adams last night?" I was like, yeah. They went, "How was it?" I was like, "Well, you're not going to believe this." But I still have the plectrum right here that he gave me that I played with and stuff. Didn't get to keep the guitar, but I got the plectrum. And since then I got other plectrums, drumsticks, backstage passes, set lists, you name it, got tons of stuff. And then one other really cool thing over here. So a year before I got on stage, I also saw Brian Adams at Wembley Stadium in 1996, and this concert quickly became known as the best gig that he'd ever done. And it was supposed to come out on video, the whole thing was filmed. It was supposed to come out on video like a year later, but it got postponed, delayed, cancelled, and then just forgotten about.
Good evening, Wembley!
And so it wasn't until 20 years after the show that he dug it out of the vault and finally released it on DVD. Now, the reason I'm telling you all of this is prior to him releasing it, he posted out on Twitter saying, "Does anyone have any memorabilia from the gig? Any tickets or anything like that?" I was like, "Yeah, I've still got my ticket. I can scan it in for you if you want." So I sent him the high-res scan of my ticket, and my ticket from that show ended up in the artwork for the DVD. Yeah, you can actually see in the artwork, in the corners of the scan, you can still see the blue tack marks from where I had it on my wall all those years as a kid growing up. And so yeah, this is the ticket here, and I got Brian to sign it backstage a couple of years ago. But the other person I got to sign all of this is Brian Adams' guitarist, Keith Scott. And Keith Scott is my absolute guitar hero.
From North Vancouver, Mr. Keith Scott!
He's probably one of the most underrated guitarists in the world. Like, pro guitarists that do know about him speak so highly of him because he's a fantastic melodic player, he's versatile, but he never does more than what the song needs the solo to do. Like, he always plays for the song. Rather than going all the way up to 11 and going crazy on every solo, he's always in service of the song. At the live shows though, there are some moments where sort of Brian lets him off his leash, if you like, and lets him go nuts and crazy. award show I was at in 2002 at Hyde Park, and I just shouted like, "Keith, chuck us your guitar pick," and he's like a good 10 meters away, but he heard me, he went, "All right," and he went, threw it through the air, and it went right into my hand, and we both just looked at each other like, "No way!" Now I can't remember which one of these picks this was. It was either this one here, nice catch, or it was this one here, didn't I tell you to fuck off? But just one very final thing to note. There is a danger of me telling these stories where people might hear it and think, "Oh wow, so you're friends with Bryan Adams?" Like, no. I'm pretty sure if you mention my name to him, he'd be like, "Who the fuck are you talking about?" So, no, but I've been to plenty of the shows, had some really cool experiences over the years, made tons of great friends at these shows as well, and people often asked, how did me and Darren meet? Darren, who I run the tours with, like in Morocco and all the future ones, how did we meet? And it's like, well, that's a funny question, because we actually met when I got on stage at that show when I was a kid. He was just standing a few spaces from me in the crowd. So the first time Darren ever saw me was up on stage with Bryan Adams. Alright, that's it. So if you've made it this far, then thanks for indulging me with this video. And like I said at the start, coming up next, got the Hong Kong to New York 2-part retrospective series. Then I'll be doing some UK weekend breaks. And then hopefully the borders will open soon, and the second half of this year will be filled with loads of trips. Plus in July, we're hoping to put on sale tours for the end of this year and all of next year as well. So keep your eyes out for that. And check out the Discover Queensland series if you haven't already. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
Did you enjoy that, Stuart?
Yeah, I did actually. You expecting a different answer, weren't you?
Love is time,
Stop it.